Commence primary ignition.
Welcome to the Reforming Nerddom Star Wars Skeleton Crew Aftershow with your hosts, Jordan and Ben.
We'll make a partnership.
Whoa, where'd you two find an Old Republic credit?
A crew of murderous pirates is coming.
Be warned of booby traps.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Reforming Nerddom Skeleton Crew After Show. I'm Ben. Over here is Jordan. Hello there, chut chut, whatever your favorite Star Wars greeting is. We say that back to you. But we're looking at episode 4 today. Can't say I remember no at-atten, which was a bit of a giveaway, but we got a runtime of 32 plus minutes if you exclude the credits. Directors being Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, I'm not sure. And again, written by Christopher Ford and John Watts. Now, the next two episodes 5 and 6, are not written by Ford and Watts. All of the other episodes written by Ford and Watts. So I want to just say that this episode is brought to you by a brand new sponsor this week, BAUFman Bricks, and you're going to see a little bit about them later on in the show. But Jordan, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing okay. You were able to catch the episode. Did you stay up late last night? Did you watch it early this morning? What was
No, I did. We had our small group, our church small group. We had our Christmas dinner last night, and sometimes I mean I'm thankful. Like a lot of the times people stay late, but then last night I was just kind of looking because I was like, I really want to watch the episode. So it's like, okay, when are you? Okay, here we go. And so thankfully it wasn't too late.
Got her wrapped up in a decent.
Yeah, it was okay.
Decent time.
We love our small group, and we'd rather people stay late and hang out. It's always a blast. But last night I was really wanting to watch the episode, so I did. I stayed up and I did watch the whole thing. Yeah,
nice. So I got a little not an Easter egg, but just a fun little tidbit on our directors, the two Daniels. Do you have any idea who they are? Because I did not. I saw it.
It was I did see. They're the guys who made that. Shoot, it was like
the Asian film a couple years. Everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah, the multiverse. Some people said that was like one of the best multiverse movies.
So I didn't watch it. I'm kind of curious actually now, and I might go check it out. So back in 2022, Everything Everywhere All at Once cleaned up at the awards. Took home 7 of its 11 Oscars that it was nominated for, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, Best Original Screenplay, Best Film Editing. And here's our little Skeleton Crew tie-in is Best Supporting Actor. They also won, which was Jonathan K. Kwan, who you will remember as playing Short Round in The Temple of Doom, made his big comeback. And of course, also Data in The Goonies, right? So now we're full circle with Space Goonies. So these guys got to direct one of the original Goonies, and also now the Space Goonies.
Quitting. Yeah, cool.
So
I didn't know
it all
that.
comes back around.
Yeah.
All right. So quick plot summary. So episode 4, can't say I remember no at-atten. So we have the crew using Kim's coordinates that they got in episode 3 to head to what they believe to be at-atten. The planet turns out to not be at-atten. It's a sort of like Fallout, war-torn, nuclear version of at-atten, which we find out to be at Akron, one of those sister planets, the 8 jewels of the Old Republic. And so Jod stays on the ship with SM-33. The kids venture out, which maybe wasn't the best decision, but they run into these child soldiers the Troiks, who are at war with the Hattons or Hattons, I can't remember, and they've stolen their Eopes, which you'll remember from like episode 1, Phantom Menace, I think is when we got introduced to those funny creatures. And then the kids sort of befriend the other children of the Troiks, especially Neil kind of makes friends with the main girl there, Hana, whose father is General Strix, who's the leader of the Troiks, and these Troiks insist on treating all their children like adults. They don't get any sort of special privilege or anything for being children. And so Neil promotes his peace-loving, sort of no violence lifestyle, and the kids, even so, regardless, are sent off by the Troiks to be the scouts or whatnot on this mission to go get their Eopes back that were stolen by the Hattons. Because they're not ready. This is sort of they have to prove that they're able to do this to get to the Fallen Sanctum, which is a place where they believe they can get the coordinates to get back home to Adatin. So, turns out that while all this is happening, Jod is able to negotiate with the Hattons and get the Eopes back, and the kids and Jod and SM-33 are reunited, and they head to the Fallen Sanctum, which turns out to just be that planet's version of the what's
Supervisor.
the Supervisor's Tower. That's right, the Supervisor's Tower. And they get up, they find the coordinates to all the planets, and the coordinates to Adatin have been destroyed. And the big sort of twist at the end of the episode is that SM-33 does remember Adatin, so he says, I can't say I remember no Adatin, literally just because he can't say, not because he doesn't remember. And Neil sort of saves the day as SM-33 turns on the kids, and then Neil faints and fade to black. So that is our episode sort of plot recap. Jordan, before I think I'll wait till the very, very end of the episode to give our rating of the episode. So let's just go through, what did you have for some positive feedback on the episode?
Yeah, like I find myself still enjoying it. I still like how much they're allowing the kids just to be kids, which is just kind of fun. That I mean, like Wim, I find Wim kind of annoying at times because it's like you're a level of stupid kid that it's like
Yeah.
you're and I'm so
It's
like
funny. I episode like 1 and 2, the first night drop, I assumed this was going to be like Wim's story, right?
Yeah.
This was like Wim and then his crew. Like the other kids were the side characters. And they've really given literally each kid, I think, has gotten an episode.
Yeah.
Right? Like episode 1 was Wim.
Yep.
Episode 2 was Fern.
Mhm.
Episode 3 was KB, and then
Yep.
now this was Neil's episode.
Yep.
And so yeah, I agree. I'm actually finding what I initially thought Wim to be kind of like the lovable main character. He's actually grown to annoy me a little
Yeah.
bit these last couple episodes.
Yeah, he's my least favorite of the kids. Just
Yeah, I
because
think so.
like it might just be that he's so desperate for like adventure, and so I can kind of get that a little bit.
Yeah.
Where but it's also like, hey kid, like this isn't just
Yeah.
an adventure. Like,
And I think he finally got his first like glimpse of character growth there at the very end with that little conversation with Fern, where the whole time he's like, I should be captain, I want to be captain, and he's actually like, yeah, we'd all be dead if I was captain.
Yeah.
Like that realization. So, maybe this is the turning point for Wim to actually become the less annoying character. But yeah, I agree. So I had that as an interesting positive that each kid's gotten their own basically full episode to be in the spotlight. And Neil was great. I mean, I had some. I was scared with the direction that it was heading. In terms of like Neil's conversation with what's her name? The main girl there, the child soldier girl.
Yeah, Hina.
Yeah, was it Hana? Yeah, Hana. Where it was like, oh, is this just gonna be some lame pacifist?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And like it just gave me Rose Tico vibes. You remember from Last Jedi, the
Mhm.
speech she gives to
Yeah.
Finn when she's like, that's how we're gonna win, not by fighting what we hate, but by saving what we love. And I'm like, in that moment, in that film, it was like literally you're letting everyone else die by not fighting what you hate. Like and that I was worried it was like gonna go in that direction. But then it actually turned like there was actually like a good balance to it where at the end Neil's the one that chucks the rock at SM-33's head, right? And he's like, yeah, there is actually a time for violence to save, like, in order to save the people I love, I actually have to fight what I hate.
Yeah.
So that was good. I was actually really pleased with how
Funny.
that ended.
John Piper could learn a thing or two from Elephant
Yeah.
Boy.
Little blue elephant kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
So I do have like a thing I'm not loving, but we can kind of get to that. So I guess just also, I thought it was a good bit of a twist where like, when they were flying into what we thought was going to be at Atten, I was actually like kind of disappointed. It's like, really, we're going back
Well, me
already?
too. So that was my when they blasted off at the end of episode 3, I was like, okay, so obviously Kim tricked Jod somehow. Like there's no way episode 4, we're halfway
Well,
through the season, we're just back to Ad Atten. And then they hyperspace in and everyone's like, "Oh, look, Ad Atten, we did it." And I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
really? That's unfortunate."
Yeah.
And then yeah, like they definitely got me. You know what I mean, like for like 5 seconds, but it was
Yeah.
still a good
Yeah.
little twist. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. I mean, like, and the whole mystery around it, I think they're doing I think if they don't bring some clarity to the mystery soon, it might drag on a little bit. Like what
Yes.
is
And I was already starting to feel
yeah.
that a little bit this
Yeah. And
episode.
so I think they need to give us something because it's like,
Yeah.
okay, wait, the first 3 like you find out in the second episode, like, oh wait, this mysterious place that, has all this lore and mystical, or yeah, it's like, is it
Yeah.
real? Is it
It's
myth?
legend, myth, all that.
Um,
Yeah.
but now it's like, okay, you need to start telling me. So I'm hoping that they do, but I do like the mystery of it because
I mean, the one thing too is as far as I'm aware, this whole thing was set up as a mini series,
Mhm.
not a like there's like this is it. Like there's
Mm.
no season 2.
Okay.
So
I
the
didn't know.
story
Has to
should get completely wrapped up, which is
I don't
good.
is there any because like one of the things they're wanting you to think about is are they in a alternate dimension or alternate reality? Have they time like is this a because like that's kind of one of the things they're trying
I
to
mean, like
figure out.
yeah,
So
like
it's like
Wim mentioned that, right? He's
yeah,
like, Did we fall asleep for 100 years, like in the story of the Knights or
yeah.
whatever?"
So is there precedent in Star Wars? Like I don't know Star Wars lore. Is there precedent for time travel or
There
like
is in the EU
reality?
in like the expanded universe.
Okay.
Like definitely not. Well, I shouldn't say definitely because I couldn't say for certain. I don't think so in like Disney canon.
I didn't okay.
Um,
Yeah,
but
because that'd be
yeah,
the
there
only
is
thing.
some precedent.
Yeah, I just don't know if
Well,
somebody
so ironically, that the pirate dude Brutus, who's that Wolfman,
yeah.
his character, or not his character, but his species, a character of his species in the expanded universe was involved in time travel, which I'm sure has nothing to do with any, I'm sure there's no connection there, but
Yeah,
just,
okay.
Out of curiosity's sake. But yeah.
Those are the kind of connections that people who really loved the franchise, they would do that, but these people who are in charge of Disney and Star Wars right now, they
They're
don't
like,
love
"Oh,
enough to
look, a cool wolf guy." Yeah.
yeah, right? Like
Yeah.
but if it was actually like people who are passionate about it and they brought in the right like the guys who have just nerded out and read every single book and know it,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it is real history, that kind of thing, I would think like they could do that kind of Easter egg, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I actually am becoming more a fan of Jod. I thought he was
Yeah.
really good.
I had that in my positives as well.
His like humor and even his like back and forth with SM33, I thought was
Yeah.
really
Well,
well done.
he is playing. So we're dads with kids, right? He is playing the exasperated grown up
Yeah.
who's surrounded by children, trying to
Yeah.
get them to do what he wants to do, and none of them are doing what he wants to do. He's like that exasperation he's got perfectly down, right? When the Hattans or Hattans or whatever they are, um, when they come out of the smoke and he kneels down, he's like, you know what? Just shoot me.
Yeah, I
Like,
was just listening to that.
I'm
That
done.
was the highlight. Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought he was really good. I thought the how it all ended with SM33 turning. It's like, well, what's gonna happen there? Because I mean, he's
Yeah.
become a beloved character already.
Well,
Like,
yeah, for
and so it's
sure.
like, are
Yeah.
they gonna be able to reset him and have him back, or is he gonna be just lost? I'm guessing he's gonna be able to, like, they're gonna be able to
I can
reprogram him.
only assume, like, they're not gonna throw that character away like
I think
that. So I can
KB's will
only assume that like, I think that's KB's role is to get him reprogrammed or whatever, or that setting of tearing people's limbs off, taken out. Yeah.
I thought it was good. It seemed like this one probably had a smaller budget. Some
Yes.
of the
That's what
CG
it felt to me, smaller
worse.
budget. It felt like a little bit of a filler
Yeah.
episode, which, like, so, like, have you watched Clone Wars with your kids? Like
No,
the
I
animated
watched
Clone
part
Wars?
of the first season, but I
Yeah.
never went
So,
beyond.
like, Clone Wars or Rebels, like, some of the animated shows, um, are in a lot of ways what Star Wars was always meant to be. Like, that was George Lucas's vision for Star Wars, was this, like, serial, episodic, like, even the way the Clone Wars starts with the, like, wartime propaganda, like, in this episode of the Clone Wars, you know, the Republic Army, what, like, it's got that vibe of just, like, little episode, and, like, there is, like, a very, very broad storyline, but each episode is just kind of its own little thing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what they're trying to do with this episode, right? Is, like, it basically is its own little story with very minimal amount of, um, carrying on of the major storyline. But my problem is, like, in an 8-episode miniseries, it's like, you just gotta get on with it. You can't have these filler, like, like, in the Clone Wars, you got, like, 27 episodes or whatever in a season, and, like, so it feels too bogged down in a short little miniseries like this to me.
Yeah, because really the whole episode boils down to confirmation that Ad-Atten is like a place of value
Yeah.
because like this other pirate stole the coordinates so nobody else could find it. It's like that's really
Yeah.
what it all ultimately was about was, oh, like there are multiple planets, Ad-Atten's really important, and you're not gonna find it. Like that's kind of what the
Yeah,
whole
like,
like
we could have done the plot summary as they find At-Atten, but it's not actually At-Atten, and SM-33 and his crew did find At-Atten, and they were also on this planet, and then an elephant kid throws a rock at his head, and he
I just
faints.
I just had a thought. You wonder if the captain is maybe the supervisor and
I have that in my prediction at the end, like, I feel
okay.
like there's some sort of connection there.
And he's almost like holding
Um
them ransom so like other people don't find this treasure trove. It's almost like
Yeah.
being
Which makes me wonder what the treasure is.
yeah.
Is it even monetary value? If you know what I mean? Like, what's the point of having a monetary treasure if you're not out in the galaxy spending it? So if
But
you're, like, hiding away on this planet,
does that not
uh
more totally align with the things that like pirates would have done is when they actually would have often had like what were they not like oh man what would they call that, like not like a hideout but they would actually go and like bring all
yeah,
their
like a treasure trove that they
treasure
would,
trove
yeah.
like maybe that whether that's real or not. I just remember playing Uncharted and like one of them was like you find this hidden island
Yeah.
where all of the treasure was and they had this this like city built in this island that was hidden from everywhere, and it was like the most expensive buildings, and like all of the pirates had their own mansions, and so it's like a lot of those like with pirates, it's not even about spending it, just having it and hoarding
That's
it.
true. Yeah, like maybe Ad-Atten is actually just a planet full of pirates, and
Yeah,
they're getting all these people to like work for them to like that's
well,
that
because
like I'm kind of I hadn't really put any pieces together, but I had that same thought of like, is the supervisor the captain, and is just like keeping the planet stuck in this cycle of I
they don't
think there's something there for sure.
yeah. So, well, before we get into things maybe we didn't like, why don't we take a second and hear from BAUFman Bricks.
I'm Brent, and I'm rebuilding LEGO Star Wars to be the best display and play LEGO models. I enjoy the nostalgia of Star Wars by creating LEGO sets designed for adults but can be handed down to children. I've spent far too much time obsessed with LEGO and Star Wars, and God made me far too creative to let it all go to waste. So I created a YouTube channel, BAUFman Bricks, to share what I'm building.
All right, so we talked about some positive aspects to this episode. I definitely had some negative. Well, actually, one major, my like big overall positive for the episode: no lesbians. That was
Yeah, that was a win.
positive.
Yeah, that was
But
a win.
I do have some negatives. I actually, I'm gonna save this to the end. So, but like, okay. So one major thing I didn't like was while we had no lesbians, we did have little girl child soldiers. I just like,
Yeah.
like could that character just not be General Strix's son? Like, does it have to be a daughter every time?
That
Uh,
that is my gripe with the episode, and I'd say the show generally, because I think it ties to Wim and him increasingly be showing his like incomplete lack of
Yeah,
competence in
like he should
anything.
be growing up into the captain
But
that
it's
he
not.
should have been,
Yes, it's
that Fern
Fern.
had to be because he was incompetent.
That's right.
Which,
But
like, I actually don't mind Fern to like in and of herself, because like she's a little bit older, and so like I think she fell into that role of like she was just a little more a little older, a little more like worldly wise. So like they're going to this pirate Port Borgo and stuff. Like they kind of needed the character of Fern to lead the way. But she also, like in this episode, realizes that she is totally inept, right? Like she can't actually do it. And so I actually don't mind that story arc with Fern, but it should be happening at the same time as Wim coming into his own, which they at least haven't done yet. Hopefully they
yeah,
could
well,
do.
that's where I think it's just it's unfortunate that you see that really subtle girl boss feminist thing
Yeah.
where it's like, it's all the
Like
girls who are the
it
stars.
isn't as obvious in a show. Like it like you say, it is pretty subtle, but it's definitely there. And like, oh man, the ridiculous, unnecessary parkour moves that
Oh
this
my,
girl is doing.
that was so dumb. I thought that same thing. It's like, or just literally take the 5 steps that it was like, you
Like
need to work
the
harder.
slide into
Oh,
the little tram or whatever that they were hiding in, and then the and then the flip at the end.
flip.
Oh, I laughed out loud at both of those
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah. Totally unnecessary, ridiculous, but it was, yeah. So that's like my general thing with this episode as well. I just don't like how, if this is directed at kids, or at least kids are watching it, that is going to have to be another thing that I talk to my kids about, and it's not as overtly sinful as Two Moms, but it is still something where it's like, no, like you should not aspire to be a soldier. Like we actually at our church, it was a couple years ago, there was somebody who a girl was saying that she wanted to be a SWAT person or something like that, and it was just, yeah, you might not want to do that. Like that's you should not aspire for that. Like again, like that might be you might have good intentions. You might want to protect people. Like those are good things. I'm not like not to disparage the potential positive motivations, but it's like no, you're actually like a treasure that you should not like. We don't send our most valuable things to war. Like that's not what you do. So, anyways, that's one of those things. I think we're gonna.
It's just like it's just one of those entirely not unexpected things, like that's but still a bummer
it's just annoying.
See.
Because even there are just a bunch of video games coming out in the next year, and it's almost any big major video game coming out, lead character's a girl. The new Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotai, it's a girl. Assassin's Creed Shadows, now there's a guy and a girl, but like a girl is heavily prominent. And then you have like Horizon, Forbidden West, and anyways, it just, you kind of keep going on and on. So it's just like, I would so much prefer seeing this be like, a boy who might be not, like that would be such a cool story. This naive kid who lives in the clouds, just like living an adventure, living on the pages of his like epic fantasies that he likes. But now it's like, no, now you need to man up and you need to be like, this is real life. And you need to be a man. And it's like, it's just, they're not doing that. And maybe they still can. They can maybe redeem that. But right now it just seems like they're not. And it just seems such a shame because like the majority of the kids watching this, I'm saying, are surely going to be boys. Like a higher percent will be young boys. And it's
I just don't understand. Like, who are you kidding when you think
well, that's
that
like they don't
90% of this audience isn't 12-year-old boys? Like,
no, you go to a playground and say, hey, boys against girls, who's going to win that fight? Like they know that, right?
Well, and that's and it's just like, again, it's lying to say like. So if you pitched the story two different ways, you've got this girl child soldier who is just like all about violence and all of, it's just like retribution to the other tribes and this like cycle of violence. And then you have a boy like Neil comes in to soften her, like, what about if we just like apologized and made peace and then there was like no more fighting and which like, okay, like that again, like I don't mind it because of how it ended with Neil and everything, but wouldn't it just make way more sense and it would be just way more true and accurate, like true to life, if it was a boy soldier, like the son of this general, and then one of the female characters comes in to soften him like a woman does to a man, softens him, and like it's just like, come on, can we just do one thing that's true? I also so one thing that annoyed me about this episode was the end with SM33. I thought that was like a fine twist. I was pleasantly ignorant of it. Like I hadn't really considered that he was kind of like using the play on words to, you know what I mean? To like, he was being truthful but lying at the same time. I hadn't considered that until he said it 500 times in this episode. And so like I figured it out way before the reveal. And it was like, I just wish they didn't foreshadow it that much. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. That just kind of annoyed me. I was like, you spoiled the gotcha moment.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I guess I wasn't really bothered by it. I thought, I also don't remember at what point I clued into. Okay, there's something here because he keeps saying it over and over again. But I can see what you mean. I can see just that it felt like by the end of it, in retrospect, it was a lot. Yeah, he did it a bunch.
But also like good writing to the point where like when Fern has the light bulb moment of like, droids do what they're told to do. It's even like the callback, and she realizes that that SM33 is lying, because that's what she remember in the very first episode when she tricked her like nanny droid.
Yeah.
to convince her mom that she was up studying or whatever, right? Like used that same like telling the truth while lying at the same time trick with her droid. So I was like, that was good. Like you can tell that this show, one thing that I think Star Wars has failed on with like some of their Disney Plus shows, and even the movie, like even the trilogy, is you have too many hands in the pot.
Yeah.
There are too many cooks in the kitchen, whatever metaphor you want to use. And so the writing, there's like just no consistency in the storytelling and in the writing from one season to another, one episode to another. So you can tell this has some forethought for,
Yeah, and I think because you had said all of the episodes except for one or two are written by
the
the same
next
guy?
two are a different duo of writers.
Okay.
The other 6 are all Ford and Watts.
Okay. I like that because I think there's oftentimes with other episodes or with other shows they will bring in different writers. They definitely bring in different directors for various episodes, but I think often it's multiple writers. So I think that's good to be able to have that continuity because like in their brain they have a thought and it's like they can have that little mini arcs within episodes.
Yeah.
Are only really like well done if it's the same writer who kind of thought of the whole thing. So yeah, I like I think that's good. Yeah.
All right. Any other negatives or positives that you forgot? Because after that, I've just got some like kind of talking points or Easter eggs or predictions or stuff like that.
No, I think I'm good.
All right. So, we haven't done this for any of the other episodes, so I thought we should do it for this episode, and then if you can try and remember, let's do it for episodes 1, 2, and 3 also, and then we'll do it for each one coming up. I wanna like rate them, right? So give it a, you know, an overall rating or whatever. So, I'm thinking, how many bilge rats out of 33, because the rat lives in SM33's face. How many bilge rats out of 33 are you giving this episode?
You couldn't just do 1 out of 5, eh? All right, now I have to do funky math.
Now you got to do.
Okay. All right. Because I would say this to me would be a 3 out of 5. In terms of build. And why'd you do that to me? I don't. So I guess what's that? 33. Now you make me do the math on the spot.
Oh man, live math right here.
Let's just say a 20 out of.
All right, 20 bilge rats out of 33. Okay, I'm giving this one a 16.
Okay.
Bilge rats out of 33. This is my least favorite episode so far. I thought it just a little bit tedious. I really disliked the little tribal warfare thing. It just seemed so small, which really annoys me in any show, but especially in Star Wars. Like Book of Boba Fett was a huge letdown in this area too. It's like they went to Mos Espa and it looked like there was like a dozen people living there. And it's just like the same thing. So you go to this planet and it's supposed to be this like planet-wide conflict, and there's like 15 people on either side. I don't know. Like, so I just thought that whole middle section of the episode was really weak. But it had some good part. Like the beginning with Jod and SM33 on the ship was really good. The ending with SM33 up in the sanctum was good, and some of the stuff with Neil was good. So it's not a total miss, but it was my least favorite so far. So
I agree.
16, so just shy of halfway. 16 bilge rats out of 33 for me. So let's go back to the beginning. Episode 1. What's your ranking?
I would give that, you and your silly bilge rat, 33. I'm gonna give that a 27.
27. All right.
I really like first
27.
episode 1. Like nothing's like close to perfect, but I think it just, and part of it might be because I would say like a 4 out of 5, but you and your silly 33.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I would give it like a 25, slightly less.
Yeah.
Because that one wasn't my favorite of the 4. I think. Anyway, we'll get there. So yeah, I think we're pretty similar. Episode 2. What do you got for episode 2?
What did I say? 27?
27 for
27
episode 1.
Build rats out of 33. So here, you know what? I just figured out the calculation. So I would say so what would that be? 4 out of 5 and then times 33. Is that right?
Oh, come on. You got to think less about this.
Okay. Okay, so I was close. 4 out of 5 would have been a 26.4. So I was pretty close on my estimate.
Round up, yeah.
So if I said 27 on episode 1, I will say a 25 for episode 2.
Okay, yeah. I'm like a 23 because I'm the same. It was good, but there just wasn't a lot of meat on the bone. It was so short. So I'd say just a little bit less than episode 1. And then what do you have for episode 3?
Okay, so if I did 20, 27, 25, episode 3, probably like a 23 then. I would still so what would be 3.5 out of 5? Is that probably what I would 3.5 times 5 times 33 is nope, 3.5. Oh, math's off. So if I 25, I'm gonna say
what? Just use what better or worse than episodes 1 and 2? Like what?
I would say it's slightly worse. Like 1 and 2 were higher.
So like a 23. So for me, I actually thought episode 3 was my favorite.
Okay.
Other than the stupid gay stuff at the beginning. So to me, if that ends up just being like a throwaway, like we got our stupid gay quota in for Disney,
because they actually do have a quota. So
I know. Then episode 3 for me is like a 27. It's like my highest ranked one. If they end up pushing that, it's gonna color how I view that episode.
Yep.
But for now, 27 out of 33.
Okay.
Build rats in Smee's face.
Okay.
Fantastic. You know what? Let's
now that I'm thinking about this silly scale of yours, what did I say for this episode? Because it was 27, 25, 24.
I don't know. What did you say? 20? 20?
Yeah, maybe I did 20.
I think.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it is in fact, because it was the worst. So
yeah, you've got it lower than everything else.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, fantastic. All right, let's do one more quick ad read and then finish off our episode. Have you ever opened your internet browser in search of quality Christian books, only to find yourself wading through page after page of Joel Osteen books, Nerf guns, and tacky wall art? Thousand Generations Print Company is here to save the day. With a unique, family-owned approach, quick 24-hour processing, a commitment to providing heretic-free literature, and real human customer service, they focus on offering books that not only enlighten, but align with orthodox Christian teachings. And, being conveniently located in southern Ontario, there's no more need to sell your left kidney to pay for shipping within Canada. Visit at actuallychristianbooks.com. Again, that's actuallychristianbooks.com. And order yourself anything from Haunted Cosmos to Sir Battle-Lot and use promo code NERDDOM, that's NERDOM, all caps, and receive 10% off your next order. Thousand Generations Print Company, books for building, books for battling, for 1,000 generations. We are back. We're going to finish off with some random sort of talking points and predictions. Jordan, did Kim send these kids to the wrong planet on purpose?
She seemed to know what she was doing. So I'm going to say yes.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't actually have an answer to this one. Other than, just a complete guess, obviously, same as you, I guess.
So
my thing is, like, she did show some like real care towards KB.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe she just got it wrong because they have they both have this like nebula barrier thing that she mentioned, like she's gonna find the planet by using um the planet's like what's unique about the planet, and that's what they talked about was the barrier in this. So I feel like maybe because they're so similar that she just got it wrong, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Kim's definitely showing up again too, right? Like how she ended when she's like, you can call me if you ever need me. Like obviously we're gonna see Kim again.
And
So
like her CGI was quite good, so I don't think they were just
yeah, they're not gonna only
funny.
use that once. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jod, do you feel any different about him since we talked about him at quite a bit at length last time because there was a lot to talk about in terms of like, is he a Force user? Is he not? Is he a Jedi? Is he not? Is he just a scam artist? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Like, does this episode reveal or change anything for Jod?
No, I think he's still space Jack Sparrow and likable, but I think he is out for his own ends, like his own gain.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this revealed anything contrary to that.
Yeah, I agree. The more I've thought about it, and now that episode 4 is dropped, it's actually just kind of confirmed my thoughts about Jod. I think, if anything, that he's not a Force. Like, I think if he was a Force user, I feel like they're gonna push that. Like, why would he not use that somehow to
Yeah.
save the kids or? But aside from that, I feel like they're pushing to. So here's my theory for kind of like how the rest of the season goes. Um, they get to Ad-Atten, but when they get to Ad-Atten, uh, Silvo slash Jod slash whatever his name is they're gonna get followed by Brutus's crew, like by his old crew,
Mhm.
and so they're both gonna get to Ad-Atten. And then Jod is going to have to duel with Brutus and kill Brutus and get his crew back. And then he'll use his crew to somehow help the kids and save the planet or like take down the supervisor. I think that's kind of the general um, way this season is gonna turn out. So there's my prediction. It's
Yep.
live. It's here. See how it goes. SM33, we already talked about it a little bit. Is he coming back? Is he going to get reprogrammed? What does he know? How much does he know?
I think he will. I think he's coming back.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, like, I think that's the biggest no-brainer of all time. Like, he's way too likable, will sell way too many toys.
Oh, yeah.
To be like, oh, Jod turned him off and we're just going to leave him here on this planet and never see him again. Also, just kind of like a funny, like, does every like, I feel like if I was making a droid that was meant to be like my bodyguard, that I wouldn't just put like a really accessible off switch on his back.
about that too. But man, that's really easy. Yeah.
That's just me, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So at Akron, so not at Atten, but the planet that they're on, definitely has off-world contact, right? They even mention it, right? They're like, we don't have much contact with off-worlders, but when we do, we're trading for munitions and stuff like that. And then you even look like they have not the tribe that the kids were with, but the other guys, like they had like what looked like droid battle tanks.
Yeah.
And then the tribe that the what were they?
Troix?
Troiks or whatever. They had like mud trooper helmets on.
Mhm.
Did you see
Well, I
that?
thought the one guy's actually kind of looked like
It was like an M1 World War II helmet. One of them.
yeah. Well, there was
Yeah.
that, and then the one guy had a mask that kind of looked like Kylo Ren's, which
Yeah.
which was interesting.
So anyway, so like there's definitely some off-world
Yeah.
stuff going on there. So to me, it's like, is Atten that much more hidden?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, so like all these other planets obviously were hidden at some point, but are sort of accessible, like, or at least just like that much more accessible. And I don't know why that is. But there's there's something there that people have gotten here.
So I have no idea if this is going to have any connection to any of this, but when I was doing some searching last night after I watched the episode, interestingly, Aten is actually a word from Mandoa, the constructed Mandalorian language featured in the Star Wars extended universe, particularly in the Republic Commando novels by Karen Travis. In Mandoa, Aten, pronounced roughly Ateen, carries meaning related to stubbornness, persistence, or enduring determination, often translated as persistent or stubborn. So it's just like an interesting thing there where it's like, again, that might be a super lore deep cut. That coincidence, but I'd be curious to see, because this is happening during the time of Mandalorian, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's after Mando season 3. Like as far as the timeline goes, I think this is of that era of shows like Mando and Ahsoka and all that. I think it's the latest one.
okay.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but when searching for anything related to Star Wars and Aten, that came up. So it's like, who knows? Don't know if that could have any significance. The fact that it is a Mandalorian word, don't know if there's anything there. But anyways, thought that was just a interesting thing to throw in there because, we'll see.
So do you think here, like, again, my prediction for the next couple episodes, see if you agree, like, are they just going to go to all these other planets and go to the supervisor towers to see if they can get the coordinates off
I guess
those ones? Is that like how this season is going to play out? Is it just going to be this like scavenger hunt?
Yeah, like what else would they do at this point?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to just stick around here. I feel like there's resolution here. Like they're just going to.
Yeah. I mean, they're gone.
What else
They're
are they
outta
going to
here.
do on Al Akron that would progress anything? So I think so. I'm guessing that's what they do, and I doubt they're going to go to all 8. I'm sure they'll find out before, or 7, because is there 8 in total?
8 total, so six more.
6 others, yeah. So I think that's probably what they'll do, but yeah, I don't know what else they would do.
Yeah,
that's what I would.
That's what I would do. We'll see what Captain Fern decides to do. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, man. Any other closing thoughts?
I hope people are still watching it and didn't give up after the Lesbo stuff, because I think it's still worth watching.
I think so. So far, and again, it's just like, it's unfortunate because I actually want to see how my kids react to this show. I just can't trust Disney to show it to them until I see the whole thing, which is a bummer.
Yep.
Because I'm curious how the targeted audience feels about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree. So
yeah,
I guess early mid-January.
Yeah. I think it's middle of January, second week of January or something. Yeah.
So far, I'm happy to keep watching it.
All right. Okay. Well, if you are listening and you want to send us your predictions, Easter eggs that we missed, stuff that we got wrong, correct us, make fun of us, whatever, comment, send your questions, sign up for Patreon, get on the Discord, all that kind of stuff. We'd love to hear from you. But until next week, may the Force be with you.